Hi everyone. I'm going to demo the WCCC website called www.collegecentralcom/WCCC. And I'm going to do that as I'm speaking to you, and if I look down, hopefully you won't mind, but I just wanted to explain this. When you go to that website at the very beginning there, it says if you have already registered or have been pre-registered by your school, click log in at Student Central. And that is what you want to do. And so when you go in, it will say Access ID. Your Access ID is your WCCC ID number, which is at the very top of your WCC, or actually at the very bottom of your WCCC ID card. You'll put that number in, and then the password will be lowercase WCCC. Now, when you go in, you'll see some different items there, but of course you can search for job opportunities posted to your school. One thing that they're going to ask you to do at the very beginning, though, is update your profile. Please do that. The reason why you want to update your profile is that it will start to, College Central will start to send you information on jobs and internships and other opportunities just as soon as you update your profile. So if you're in business administration, if you're in computer networking, or whatever your major or emphasis is, College Central will start to send you job listings. The college services or the college placement office gets those in on a daily basis. So probably 4 or 5 times a week, you'll get information about job postings. So anyhow, you can search for job opportunities posted at your school. And then if you apply for any jobs, you can view my job search history, which is the second opportunity. Now, the second one, it says search for jobs at CCN's Job Central, and that's a nationwide database. And so, if you want to expand your search, then naturally you can use that. Now, for internships, you can search for internships, but the cool thing about that is I'm going to click on it. It says so search for internships, and when you go in, I have mine set. I live in Mount Pleasant, Pennsylvania. My zip is 15666. So if I wanted to search for technical writing, so that's what I would be interested in. If you were in computer networking or database management or whatever you were in, you can search, and you can search for 25, 50. I'm going to make mine 100 miles. And I can click begin search, and it'll take a minute, and I have 13 opportunities. Research and product development intern job, IT summer internship, technical writer intern. The one that I'm looking, technical writer intern, is for management science associates. There's a number of different ones that are available. There's one for AccuWeather in State College. Interestingly enough, AccuWeather is because of Penn State, and they have a big meteorology program, just like in Norman, Oklahoma, where the University of Oklahoma is. There's a big weather center there. But anyhow, they're looking for someone for technical writing. So they have a number of different interns. And so, for example, if I wanted to apply to any of those, like, for example, the technical writer intern and management science associates, when I click on that, it will take me to the website for Indeed.com, which is related to College Central. And then it basically has you do a couple of things, view or apply to this job. And so that's what I would do, technical writing intern jobs in Pittsburgh, and then my email, and I can fill out the rest of the information. But anyhow, that is the intern feature. And let me tell you, with an intern, if you would ever be interested in doing that, you could do it with a faculty member. They're at least 120 hours. Some are paid and some are unpaid. But the advantage of doing a internship is you gain fresh skills, and the other advantage of it, of course, is that you connect to a company, and sometimes they may not be able to use you, but certainly they may recommend you to another company. Now, see where it says manage my resume or upload a resume. What you can do is you can click on build a resume, And they'll ask you to choose a format, chronological, functional, and so on. And they'll help you name your resume. And so you could call it, like for instance, mine would be michaeljh864's resume. And then I can click on build it. And then you just start to add information, contact information, your objective, your summary of skills, your education, your experience, and so on. And basically, when you are done, you click finish with your resume, and what happens is then career services will receive it, and then Sherry Noel or Jonna, who both work in that office, will review it, and then they will let you know if it's acceptable or not acceptable. If it's not acceptable, they often will ask you to meet with them, or if you cannot meet with them, then obviously they will give you some suggestions and they'll ask you to make the changes and they'll approve it, okay? So the other part about College Central that I wanted to make you aware of is called Manage My Career Portfolio. And you can create a portfolio. Use the standard one unless you're in graphic arts or in another type of major where you're using a number of different documents. But I've added documents to mine, and I've added, you can have education, coursework, and training, personal qualities, strengths, and skills, work-related experience, activities, interests, and life experience, accomplishments, honors, and awards. You know, you can add Word documents, you can have PDF, you can use picture files like GIF or JPEG. You can always scan something into your scanner, so if you get a letter of thanks, if you get an award for being involved in some activity, say with the Boy Scouts or the Rotary or some other community organization, the United Way, Heart Association, you can scan those into your scanner and put it in there. But as I said, they will take Word, Excel, PowerPoint, JPEG, you know, they will take any number of different forms. And then once you get to 3 documents in there, then what you can do is you can forward your resume or your job skills and everything to an employer. So basically, like I said, I'm looking at that right now. To update my portfolio, as I said, you can do that, preview, forward. When you click on forward to it, though, you can put the person's email address, and then you can include a cover letter or other information. So it's pretty good. I really, really like that because the advantage of it naturally is that you have a certain number of documents. You can put 10, 20, however many you like in there, and then a person can preview it. You know, you can use that, of course, before you, go for an interview, or if a company is interested in you, they can look at your resume. And by the way, if you upload your resume into College Central and you apply for a job, you can give the person permission to look at your resume or your portfolio, or of course you can forward it. And then also, when you graduate from WCCC, you can switch from being a student to being an alumni, and you can still use our College Central services. It's a great service. I just think that it offers so much to you. Now, if you look in the right-hand corner here, they have different workshops, and you can always take a look at those. They have career document library, cover letters, interviewing, and so on. They even have podcasts in there, which are short MP3 files, audio files that you can listen to. And they also have some videos. But the point that I really wanted to get into today was the use of social media. And WCCC Career Services is linked to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and it also has Reference USA. That is not a social media site, but I'll explain each of those. Obviously, for Facebook, everyone, or not everyone, but nearly everyone these days, has a Facebook page. And obviously, you use it for personal information and so on. But you can also get linked to the WCCC Facebook page. And the way that you do that is when you go in, as I said, you can click on Facebook. and it'll say go to the WCCC Facebook page, and then you can click, when you go in, you can click like. And when you click like, when you go to your Facebook page, and the WCCC information will appear, and it has other job listings, it has career fairs, and all sorts of other information. And so that's a good way to network. I must caution you, though, with your Facebook or whatever social media sites you use, be careful about the types of pictures or the types of information that you post, because what happens more and more these days, and I've heard students say this, when you go for an interview, like I had a student that went for an interview with the state police. When he got interviewed, then he was going to get into the academy. They'll ask you to log into your Facebook page right there in front of them. So, and the other part about it is, there are websites on the internet such as www.pipl.com. It gives all sorts of information, and of course, a person can do a reverse Google search on you and find information. So, just use some good sense as far as what you post at Facebook and some of the other sites that you use on a routine basis. The second one that they have is Twitter. And interestingly enough, Twitter has started to be used more as a job posting site as well. Some years ago, they used to use other bigger job listing sites in this country, but they've gotten away from that, and they use Twitter now. Twitter is used more, as is LinkedIn is used a great deal more. So with that, WCCC has a Twitter site. The Facebook site is bigger, but the Twitter site is pretty cool too. So you can click on that and you can go into Twitter. And if you send tweets, obviously they're short, but as I said, in Twitter and Facebook, you can also connect to different groups. So if you're in computer science, there's computer science groups, or if you're in rad tech, there are people that have those sorts of groups. The last one that I really wanted to mention to you that you would find to your advantage is what's called LinkedIn.com. And again, WCCC has a presence on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a social media site for professionals. So, for example, from 2007 to 2010, I went to Chatham University to pursue a second master's degree, and this one was in professional writing. And quite a few of my classmates are freelance writers, or they work on a contract basis. So, for example, a friend of mine, her name was Anita, she had a pretty good LinkedIn page, and her LinkedIn page obviously had her resume, and it had the types of experience she had, her education, her background, and she even had links to different documents that she had written. Also, at her LinkedIn page, she had a link to her website. She had a website that she used with more documents that she had in it. She also had a blog. And you can create a blog, what's called the blog spot. And some people will do that. That's another type of social media. A blog is basically a web blog. And so Anita, used LinkedIn. She used a website, and she used a blog. With a blog, I mean, you can include like a lady that I know at the library. A friend of hers has a blog on. It's called Cycling Simmons, and it's of all the travels he's made in the United States and all over the world on a bicycle. I had a student in class 2 years ago, and she did a blog on the history of math. Another student that I had in class went to Vienna for a course that she was taking with a group of students, and she wrote a blog every day of 1,000 words on what she saw. So anyhow, I just wanted to mention that people that do use LinkedIn use it as a networking type of site, and it's pretty good. So obviously, if you use Facebook and LinkedIn, that can be quite effective. So I just wanted to mention, and then the good thing about LinkedIn is if you want somebody to write a reference for you, you can send them a note from LinkedIn or send request to their email, and then they'll write you one, and it'll appear right in their LinkedIn page. So it's really, really good, but it's something you would have to use on an ongoing basis. The other one in there is called References USA, which I would really recommend. It is quite good. References USA is a database on different places that, where you would apply for a job. So, for example, if you wanted to apply at Respironics here in southwestern Pennsylvania, at Kennametal, or at other companies, they'll tell you, what type of company they are, how big they are, how many employees, all sorts of information. Because when you go to an interview these days, they expect you to know something about their company, and they always ask you at the end of your interview, do you have any questions for us? And so you certainly could have questions if you looked in there. Now, the other part that's really kind of neat, which I just wanted to mention too, is what's called the perfect interview. And if you have a webcam on your computer at home, like I do on my computer and also on my laptop, you can go to theperfectinterview.com/WCCC. And what it does is you can go through and do a basic interview. So, for example, it'll ask you to log in or to create an account. To create an account, you can use your first name, your last name, your email address, and then you create my account. And then what you can do is you can say if you want to do a short interview, if you want to do a medium length or long interview. And basically, if you have a webcam, they'll ask you questions, like 7 questions total, and then you respond, and then you can see how you look and how relaxed you are and so on. It's a really neat site that I just wanted to mention to you, which I feel is advantageous to know. I really do. Finally, just a couple of other suggestions that I have for you that might be useful for you. Obviously, I want you to use College Central. All the documents that you do in this technical communication class, or many of them, upload them into College Central and then put them in the portfolio section. It's a great place to keep documents. And then that way, as I said, if you need to forward them to someone for them to look at, it's very easy. It takes a minute to do so. The other thing that I would encourage you to do, if you would like to, is go to Staples or Office Max or Walmart, buy a binder, get some of those plastic sheets, and you can divide it into school, you can do it for work, community activity, and so on. And you can put samples of different documents or different things that you've done in there. And so when you go to an interview, you can open it up and say, look, these are some of my activities. These are my activities with my church. These are my activities with the United Way, with the Red Cross, the Heart Association, or whomever you volunteer with, even at WCCC, whatever you've done here. You can do that. So that's a good thing to do. I just wanted to suggest that. The last part that I wanted to talk to you a little bit about was social media. As I told you before, in using Facebook and using Twitter or using any of the other types of social media that you use a little caution on the pictures and so on that you post. I went to a meeting this summer and they used this example, which I thought was a very, very good example. There was a student at Millersville State University in Lancaster, PA, and if you want to go to Google, look it up. She was like Wicked Witch of the West. But basically, she was either in her first semester or second semester as a senior there, and she was student teaching. And number one, I believe she criticized the supervising teacher that she had. And number two, she posted pictures of herself on Facebook as a drunk witch at a Halloween party. Well, I mean, it's usually those types of things, they could be problematic or they could not. But in this case, she even told some of the students that she was student teaching, hey, go look at my Facebook page. They did, and so the administration got wind of this, and so they looked at it as well. Well, unfortunately, it didn't work out very well for her because she was kicked out of the teacher education program in Millersville State University. She ended up graduating from the university with a general studies degree, but she can no longer teach in the state of Pennsylvania. She can no longer get a teaching certificate. So she filed a lawsuit, and she lost because the court said that social media is public, and they are allowed to base some determinations on that. Second thing that I wanted to tell you is when I was in Dallas for Achieving the Dream, there was a case going on in the news down there. And what happened was a detective who was investigating this police sergeant wrote on a blog or some type of social media site about this sergeant saying that she's guilty and she's not going to be able to get out of this and so on. Well, the attorney for this detective uses, or for the sergeant, uses against his detective, and the detective may get fired. Excuse me. So, more companies have social media policies, and so be cautious. Be careful about what you send or what you have. And most people think, well, this can be erased, but really, it's harder to get rid of than you would imagine. Also, use your WCCC website, your email rather. If you're using Gmail, use a standard Gmail address like, Michael Ritzik or mritzik at gmail.com or so on. Don't use sexy babe or gun shooter or something like that. Those are inappropriate to use. And the other thing that I wanted to remind you of is on your cell phone, use a standard greeting. Hey, this is Michael Ritzik. I'm not available. Please leave a message and I'll get back to you. Don't put rap music or don't use swear words or anything like that. Believe me, that can work to your disadvantage because it's a tight economy these days, and companies will look at various reasons why they may not hire you. So, social media is to an advantage. Obviously, your cell phone can be to your advantage, but it can be to your disadvantage if you don't have an appropriate greeting on it. Be professional with your email address and just take a professional approach as you go through your career. The other thing that I really wanted to tell you too is at work, try only to send work-related email through your work account. If you have to send private email, have a Gmail account or a Hotmail or one of the others. But I would encourage you probably not to send personal emails in that way. And the other part too that I wanted to tell you is if you're using a company-owned laptop or computer, they have the right to look through your documents. And there was a case with a Supreme Court justice in the state of Pennsylvania and also a state politician. Their last name is Ori. They were able to look at their Word files or other documents, and there's something in them called metadata. And so they can tell what time you wrote them. Even if you try to change them around and erase things, all that information is available. So just be careful on what you write or what you do, and just use good sense. I mean, ordinarily, you're not going to have any problems, but those are just some suggestions that I have. And that's it for now. Thank you very much.